Opportunity to be God's helping hand to the heavy laden among our fellow men. In 3 different biblical parables, among others, God speaks to those who already have the light of the truth, calling them to leave behind their neglect of duties as the light bearers and agents of hope to others. In Isaiah 5:1-4, God laments against this neglect of duties. He said, "Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard, that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes." In this parable, God tells us what he has done to save those who received the light of truth first, including ancient Israelites and today's Christians. God expected them to represent him well and his character and bring a glimpse of hope to the hopeless world. But things were not as expected. They only nourish themselves and make others feel of no value in the sight of God. When Jesus came, he repeated the lamentation in Matthew 21:33-40 and said, "Hear another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard, and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandmen took his servants, and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another. Again he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all he sent unto them his son, saying, They will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they caught him, and cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. When the Lord therefore of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen?" Jesus here again solemnly repeats to us about what a great work God has done first to ancient Jews and today's Christians, expecting them to be his good witnesses and agents of hope to this hopeless world. But when he sends to them crippled, hopeless people, homeless and disabled, so they can represent his character to these poor souls and bring them into hope and salvation, they increase doubly their calamities and withdraw away even their little hope. God repeats calling you, my fellow Christians and Jews today, to come into understanding that when God enlightened you first with the light of truth and hope, his purpose in making you the subject of his grace is that you may become agents in saving and giving hope to others. The object of God in choosing a people before all the world was not only that he might adopt them as his sons and daughters, but that through them the world might receive the grace that bringeth salvation. When the Lord chose Abraham, it was not simply to be the special friend of God, but to be a medium of the peculiar privileges the Lord desired to bestow upon the nations. The world needs evidences of sincere Christianity. The poison of sin is at work at the heart of society. Cities and towns are steeped in sin and moral corruption. The world is full of sickness, suffering, and iniquity. Nigh and afar off are souls in poverty and distress, weighed down with a sense of guilt and perishing for want of a saving influence. The gospel of truth is kept ever before them, yet they perish because the example of those who should be a savor of life to them is a savor of death. Their souls drink in bitterness because the springs are poisoned, when they should be like a well of water, springing up unto everlasting life. My brethren and sisters, can you hear this call of duty today? And go ye therefore to represent him that sent you to your neighbor, poor souls? Let us stop selfishness and remember where God brought you through. What have you paid him? Then freely ye have received, freely give. Open your mind, Jesus. The Lord of the vineyard is soon to come. What count will you render him?